Welcome back to the channel. Mortgage interest rates down means real estate prices up. But hold on a second. It's not that easy. I get this question all the time. They ask me, what will happen in 2025 and onwards, 2025 and 2026, and how much do these interest rates actually have an impact on our real estate market? So let's get right into it. All right, so I get it. Like, interest rates are a big part of the economy and they're a big part of real estate, but not so fast. Everybody expects or believes that when we have these mortgage rates actually feather down, that all of a sudden everybody will start knocking on your door with all these offers and create all those ludicrous bidding wars. Well, it doesn't really work like that, right? I mean, like, look, back in the day when we had that, 2021, when we had the low interest rates in the mid ones, like, and the low twos, right? Like for 5-year fixed. So that's not gonna happen maybe ever or never, right? Like, so people expect that they will see those ones and twos for 3, 4, 5-year fixed rates going onwards, which I don't believe that that's the case. Now, where we're at right now, we're in the low fours, and variable rates have been coming down, but not the fixed rates. So the fixed and the variable, they're kind of at par at the moment, right? Maybe you can get a deal here and there, but they're at par. So what can we expect down in the first quarter of 2025? I do believe that the interest rates will feather down a little bit more, and we will see the variable rates somewhere in the high threes, right? So is it a good start? Yes. But do not expect that the real estate market will just go bananas. It will not happen. And there's so many reasons in this particular equation why it will not happen. And one of them is obviously the FOMO, like fear of missing out, right? Like, so the time when we had that, 2021 and 2 and whatever, right? Like, we had that specific situation where all the cards, all the bets, everything that was happening was geared and focused, laser focused on real estate market, right? So it was just going like the FOMO, like lack of listings, all these bidding wars, right? And when you trade in that particular environment, you find that obviously people are not either making clear or conscious decisions because they're driven by fear or missing out on a particular product because they're fearing that down the road they will not be able to find such house or condo or something like that in the price range or community or street or whatever, right? So it was very FOMO driven, right? So the decision literally was done within minutes, right? So that's something that we don't have today. And what we're finding, yes, showings picked up. Yes, the activity picked up, which doesn't mean that the contracts picked up. And they haven't. And it doesn't mean that the prices will just skyrocket because people needed to skyrocket so they can get out of debt. It's not going to happen, right? Not for a long time, maybe half a decade, maybe a decade, maybe whatever, I don't know. And it is hard to predict more than, 3, 6 months, maybe a year you can predict. Like, people predicting, 3, 5 years. It's a possibility, a prediction. That's why it's called a prediction. It's not set in stone, right? So yeah, we can predict within a quarter here and there. And now, like, even the product that we have that has been accumulated in that FOMO stage period, most of that product is not usable or reusable. Like, we're dealing with 416 cage box condos. What are you gonna do with that? And on top of that, what are you gonna do with that price? Like they're not going back to, you know, 1,400 a foot, $1,600 a foot. It's not gonna happen, right? Like so we're dealing with so many things at the same time. And yes, every market, including this one, is obviously geared, or it's looked at based on the product, based on the need, based on the necessity and all of that stuff. Like on my channel, I did a video on Mississauga specifically, and the entry level for a buyer, first time buyer, okay, would be a condo, okay, and that condo is an average price of $585,000. You say, okay, fine. But then you're looking at the size, you're like, I get it, maybe it's a single person, but that's the entry level. Now, as soon as you step it up to a family criteria, you know, having kids, a dog, or whatever, right? Like you jump easily to $800,000 plus. So at that point, you're bringing yourself to obviously a higher down payment sum, which is nearing like 80,000 plus, right? And all these ongoing costs and whatnot. But the interesting part of that was that, you know, like having a family and purchasing a property like that, that is $800,000 plus, you're writing a mortgage with 10% down. You're writing a mortgage over $5,000 a month. Plus, like, I don't know, if the townhouse condo has maintenance fees, taxes that are actually going up, by the way, and all of that stuff. Like, so the actual affordability is not on the table yet at all, right? And then talking back to the historical figures, and some people that actually went through that period in the late 80s, the early 90s, right? So when everything kind of like went off the cliff and it tanked literally, right? And the recovery for that was years. Like it took him, you know, 6, 7, 8 years to actually see the recovery, right? Like to see that recovery going back and all of that stuff. And by the way, you know, during that period of time, you know, between Canadian dollar and the US dollar, we were sitting at 74 cents, you know, 74, 75, 73, right? And today, it's the same situation. We're sitting around the mid 70s when it comes to the US dollar. It's just something to think about. But, you know, like the catch was that, you know, it did not make sense for you to purchase a condo in the early 90s because it was double of carrying cost versus renting. So by the time that feathered down to that rental market, nothing was happening. Like it was like literally a dead market. And I think we're heading in that direction as we speak. How fast? I have no idea. But I know one thing, that you will not wake up tomorrow and see gains in real estate that are, you know, 10, 20, 30% annually. It's not going to happen. So I just hope that you got some value out of this particular video. And if you like content like this, I have more videos on my channel. You can click continue watching, and I will see you in the next one.